So what you do is you build an ML program that takes all of your past data, and then you would basically create a category of this is the prototype of people I want to target.
How do we use this, to our advantage in order to, I don't know, let's say this is a tax deferral podcast, and I'll kind of weave something in there in a little bit, but let's start with like a real estate or a business, whatever, like we're trying to grow the business, right? In order so we can kind of like sell it, and putting in these systems and processes. How do we leverage, like, what's the best way to leverage AI and social media in order to generate the revenue?
Right. So I actually used to do machine learning for a real estate brokerage. That was the first thing I did, like right out of high school, was I figured out how to do basically comps, like how much is a house worth. So house would come off of the MLS. We'd value it right away. This is like pre-Zillow, right? And then we'd be able to go and make an offer on it before anyone else saw it. So there's two different kinds of categories for like real estate or other things that you just mentioned. The first is like a back end one, which is what I just talked about. Can you build a good strategy for acquiring assets, right? And there's a second one, which is a front end strategy, which is how do you get clients, right? Or how do you interact with clients?
Okay, so there's two streams right here.
You can think about back end and front end, and most programs will have a back end and front end. How do I make my process better? How do I gather more people to throw in my funnel, right? Or once they're in my funnel, how am I smart about it? So here's a good example of the front end, because that's the cooler one, right? Which is, let's say that I had $100,000 to spend on pay-per-click or some kind of marketing campaign, right? You could just say, here's my intuition around who I think is going to be clicking on these things, or you could build a machine learning algorithm that says, based on all of the experience I've had in the past and the people that do buy from me, I'm going to filter it out and say, these are the people I want to target. So what you do is you build an ML program that takes all of your past data, and then you would basically create a category of this is the prototype of people I want to target. Then you'd go on Facebook or Google and you'd buy from those categories.
Okay, so you essentially, use the, when you say, okay, so when you just say like, I just build like a machine learning, like that sounds like that's like actually like really hard to do. Like, how complicated is it to just like build a machine learning system?
Yeah, so it's really hard at scale. So if you have billions of rows, like some of the people I've mentioned, my clients, they have enormous systems, and at scale, nothing is trivial. At scale, I can't do anything on a single machine, and you have to think about everything in terms of like 100 machines. But if you were to go on a tutorial today and learn how to do it, and you knew Python already, you'd actually be surprised by how well you can interact with the frameworks. But then if you wanted to get below the tip of that iceberg, it's years of math to understand it, but not a lot of people are operating at that level. So there's like an operators for machine learning that would take you maybe a year or so. And then there's like, I want to be an expert in it, that would take you a decade.